All right, hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a guide to what we might call elevated living. And look, we're moving past the usual ideas of just having a good life. We're going to explore something, a bit deeper, a more conscious, more intentional, and ultimately a more sovereign way of being.
We're always told that success is measured by what we own, our achievements, all the things we can show for our hard work. But what if that's just not the full picture? What if that constant chase for more is actually distracting us from what really, truly matters?
And that really brings us to the heart of it. This idea that elevated living isn't something you go out and buy. It's a state of being you actually cultivate. It all starts as an internal choice, one that then radiates out into every single part of your life. It starts from the inside.
So where do you even start with something like that? Well, it all begins with the absolute bedrock of any personal transformation, your self-concept. Because before you can change your habits or your style or your life, you first have to understand and maybe even refine the story you're telling yourself about yourself.
Thinking about your self-concept as a prism is just so powerful, isn't it? It's not just a random collection of thoughts. It's the actual lens that colors your entire reality. And this prism, it's shaped by your self-image, that mental picture you have of yourself, your self-esteem, which is all about how you value yourself, and your self-ideal, the person you're aspiring to be.
And when you really get a handle on that self-concept, when you truly master it, you achieve what's known as sovereignty. Now let's be clear, this has nothing to do with ruling over other people, not at all. It is the ultimate form of self-possession. It's basically an internal declaration that you and you alone are the one governing your life. It's this quiet, really potent power that just comes from knowing exactly who you are.
Okay, so once that foundation is in place, we can start to build on it. A strong self-concept lets us develop the right mindset to navigate the world with real intention. And that leads us right into our second pillar, cultivating taste. Just think of it as the bridge connecting your inner world to all of your external choices.
And this is where we see the huge difference. Trends, they're chaotic, they're fleeting, they're all about reacting to whatever is popular on the outside. But taste? Taste is enduring, it's personal. It's a coherent point of view that comes from a place of discernment, from knowing what actually aligns with you, not with what everyone else is doing.
This quote just nails it. True taste isn't about chasing trends. It's about understanding the context and the meaning behind things. You're not just picking stuff, you're perceiving it. You're looking for the story, the quality, and when you do that, you transform from just a passive consumer into an active curator of your own life.
Okay, so we've got our foundation, we've got our mindset. Now for section 3. How do we put this all into practice? This is where we take that inner philosophy and turn it into real, tangible, daily choices that actually build an elevated life.
A huge first step is getting a handle on your time and your energy. This right here, the Eisenhower Matrix, is a simple but incredibly powerful tool for that. By just sorting your tasks into these 4 boxes, you stop reacting to whatever feels urgent and you start focusing on what is truly important. The real magic happens when you actually schedule what's important but not urgent, and, maybe even more importantly, you have the discipline to just eliminate what's not important at all.
And here's a really powerful way to jumpstart that practice, a kind of holistic reset. Notice how it all kicks off with mindset, getting crystal clear on your ideal self. And from there, every other step, from the food you eat to the content you consume, it all becomes an act of reinforcing that new, elevated identity. It's a total energetic realignment.
Elevated living isn't just about these grand gestures. It's woven into the small moments of your daily life. These rituals, they're simple, actionable ways to practice that discernment and cultivate taste every single day. Even something as small as refining your content diet, swapping endless scrolling for a few really well-chosen articles. That alone can completely shift your perspective.
So, all this inner work is great, but how does it actually show up on the outside? Well, our 4th section covers one of the most powerful ways, through artful communication. Eloquence is really about sharing your clear inner world with that same clarity and grace, making sure your presence is felt and your ideas are truly respected.
So here's the interesting thing about eloquence. A lot of it is actually about restraint. It's about holding back, saying less, slowing down. That's what allows your words to have more weight. It signals confidence. It signals composure. And then when you do speak, using a simple structure just ensures your message lands with precision and impact. It's really not about using big words. It's about making your words matter.
And all of this brings us to our 5th and final section, the result of this whole journey, When you finally align your inner self-concept with your mindset, your daily habits, and your outward expression, well, you arrive at a life lived with what we call sovereign energy.
I absolutely love this definition. Sovereign energy isn't loud. It's not demanding. It's a quiet, potent power. It's that magnetic quality some people just have, right? A kind of coherence between their inner and outer worlds that creates this natural authority. People lean in, not because you're shouting, but because your presence is just so grounded and real.
And this is what that sovereign energy looks like in action. It's about rejecting the need for anyone else's approval, because you know your worth comes from within. It's about understanding that pulling back from chaos isn't a sign of weakness. It's a strategic move to protect your own peace. And ultimately, you don't have to go around declaring your worth when you're busy embodying it.
This quote really is the perfect summary of this whole idea. An elevated life isn't a performance you put on for other people. It's a fundamental shift in your own perception, about seeing things more deeply, choosing more intentionally, and living in true alignment with your own inner standard of excellence and authenticity.
And so, I'll leave you with this question. Because really, it all begins with a choice. And not some huge, grand plan to change everything overnight, but just a simple decision to see one thing. Yourself, your time, a piece of art, a conversation, with a more refined and intentional perspective. So, what will you choose?